It's super easy. This won't take long at all. It's gonna be done in like seconds. Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to show you how I used to make some of my own clothes, namely skirts. I don't know if it's like perfectly proper or whatever, but this is what I used to do, and you can actually make a lot of your own clothes. First, you want to find a skirt that fits you well, that you like, preferably that's pretty stretchy. These are the ones you're going to use as a pattern, and then you need some fabric that is also stretchy. I found this at a thrift store and I thought it would make a nice skirt. And I also found this at a thrift store that has like a really jacked up top, and I thought I would make a skirt out of it as well. This is also very stretchy, and that's what you want. That makes it a little bit easier. It's super easy. This won't take long at all. It's gonna be done in like seconds. So let's try. Okay.
Alright, welcome to Sewing ASMR. First, what you're going to need are some marking tools, like I showed right there. So quickly, sorry. And then you're going to lay out your fabric doubled. Okay, mine's a shirt, so it's already double, but I'm just making sure that it's even. Then you take your pattern skirt and you lay it on top. And unfortunately, mine was too wide. So I had to fold in the sides, which took away from the flounciness of the end result skirt, but it still worked. So then take a marking tool, preferably that's washable. I'm using like a pastel, and then mark around the skirt, just like you're tracing something, about 1 centimeter away from the skirt, because you want to have some room to sew. Actually, maybe even more like 1 inch would be better. Now I'm going up about 2 inches above the top of the skirt, because we're going to need that to make a waistband. I'm continuing down. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be straight enough that you can cut straight. Make sure that the fabric is doubled, and mine isn't right there. So after I draw this, and the skirt actually is not, the pattern skirt is not even, so I folded that up. But after I draw this, I have to fix this shirt and make sure they're even. See, I have to line them up perfectly. Like that. Still not perfect because the shirt itself is a little uneven, but I'll just cut that extra off. So then you just cut it out. Just cut it out. Like this. I probably should have made a pencil skirt since I didn't have the fabric wide enough. But the pressure of the camera and everything, I wasn't thinking. So then I fold that, put it aside, and do the next one. Oh, yes. Make sure that your fabric is inside out when you do this. Very important. So put it inside out, lay it flat and doubled. Lay your pattern skirt on top. Again, not wide enough. Should have made a straight skirt. But I just folded the edges in. And it's got a cute little 90s flair to it. I did not trace this one. I just used my eye because the fabric was so stretchy. I just couldn't manage. So there we go. And I went up an extra 2.5 inches at the top. Folding that up, put it aside. Sorry, you can hear my kids in the background. So then, this one was awesome. Already hemmed. It's already perfect. They think I'm talking to them, telling them to go to bed. So what I did was I just cut off the top. Fold it up, put it aside. Ready.
Okay, so here we are in my little sewing area with my sewing machine. This is black thread, that's not good. So I probably have to change the color of the thread first, but I just wanted to let you know you'll need a little bit of elastic, most likely. That's gonna just help it to be more secure around your waist. If the fabric is super stretchy, maybe you could get away without putting an elastic in. But this is what we have to do next. So we have these pieces of fabric, double-sided, inside out. They're ready to go. So what we have to do now is sew down each side of the skirt. So we're gonna sew down this side and down this side. Now since the fabric is stretchy, you probably should use a stretchy stitch. I have a stretch stitch on here because I do a lot of stretchy fabric. But when you put this in, here, let me zoom you in. So we're gonna be sewing about 1 centimeter in from the edge. I'm just gonna change the color of the thread to something a little bit lighter. If you don't know how to change the thread on your sewing machine, you can maybe look on the instructions or look in the YouTube. Ready. All right. So we sew down the one side. Hopefully this fabric doesn't give me any issues. Sometimes you've got a weird fabric, especially if it's super stretchy, and it might mess up your stitch. Always make sure you have both sides of the fabric. All you have to do is go straight down to the bottom. Also, don't pull too much when you're pulling it through, or you'll have ripples after. There you go. One side is done. Now we're just gonna close up the other side of the skirt. Okay, so now we have both sides of my skirt sewn together. Now we have to do the magical part, which is closing up the top and closing up the bottom. To do this, you have to sew around the ring of the waist, and you have to sew around the ring of the hem. Okay? You don't want to sew that shut, or else you wouldn't be able to put it on. Okay, so what we can do is turn this right side in. Now you can see how your work looks. I like it. There we go. So I have a skirt, but this is what the top looks like. Just not hemmed at all. And usually on the clothes we wear, if you look at the bottom of your shirt or the bottom of your skirt, you have what we call a hem, which is basically just the material is folded under nicely and then sewn shut. So that's what we have to do here. On this one, maybe I won't hem it just because I think it's going to be all ripply. So at the top, what you want to do is you want to roll, just like when you roll your socks. Maybe you roll your socks down this way sometimes. Well, this time we're going to roll this in. Okay, so there's about, let's say, an inch inside. because we have to fit our elastic inside that after. So you can measure, that's about right. So we want to have this much fabric and then just the edge sewn under. So for those of you who are beginner sewers, seamstresses, this could be a little bit challenging, but you do get used to it. One important thing, when you're going to put an elastic inside, this is the starting line, and then you're going to go all the way around. You're going to sew it all the way around, all the way up to here. But the thing is, we have to leave an opening for the elastic to be able to go in, up under after. So what I like to do is, I take something and I mark it so that I do not forget. If I sew it all the way shut, then I can't get the elastic in. Right about there. Just make a stop line. That's red for stop. I don't have a line on my sewing machine. Actually, I'll just make one. I'm gonna make a line right here. I don't know if you can see that. I just drew a line right here so that I know exactly where the fabric has to go to. And I keep folding this under as I go. So you sew a little and then you fix a little, and then you sew a little and you fix a little. So here I want it to be the right width. I can move it under more or out more depending on what I need. And make sure your little lip is folded under. Try not to sew off of that little lip. Make sure you're sewing close enough to the edge here that you are getting that fabric, because sometimes you could miss it and then the whole thing just opens up. There we have it. It's a little bit wonky, but it stretches, so I'm happy. Always cut your stray strands. That's what my mom always said. Now, to put the elastic in, first, take your elastic, measure your waist exactly the size that it is, and add about 1 inch, and then cut it. My elastic is the right length for my waist. This is what I like to use to feed things through seams. I use a big safety pin. Just hook that in there. Oh. We're going to feed this elastic. Oops, I got a thread there. We're going to feed this elastic in through the waist. So you put that in. And just by feel, you drag it along like an inchworm. In, pull, in and pull, all the way around. It's okay if it bunches up over here. In and pull. And then you poke it out. Hold this and pull it around. So now that we have both ends of our elastic, you can undo that safety pin and save it for another time. Now that we have both ends of the elastic, let's turn this waistband right. Okay, so it goes around and out, and they're both upright like a cup. Okay, we gotta have them. I know that the fabric looks twisted here. It's just the fabric. They have to come out in the same way, and then we have to sew them together about 1 inch, leaving about 1 inch. So you just take that, So then we pull that in and see how it's gonna go right in flat. There we go. Top of our skirt. So now we close this little opening. Voila! So stay tuned for when I model them all at the end. I'm going to now work on the next one in the exact same way. Ta-da! So now do the waistband, put markers. So I just finished doing the waistband sewing. I'm not sure how much you guys can see, but basically it's just like a tube, and we do the hem the same way. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. Actually, with the hem, ooh, that is one big fat slow fly. With the hem, you can fold it over once, pretty small, and then twice, pretty small, and then you sew it all the way around like that. Oh, and for stretchy fabric, you can also do a zigzag. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. I just, like, sewed so much and didn't notice that the top string had ripped. Whatever, when this happens, just gotta go backtrack to where you left off and do it again. I did it one time, I can do it again, right? Ha ha ha, the bottom string ran out now. Okay, so now I just finished sewing the hem. See this beautiful zigzag stitch? It stretches. So now you just have to go back through and, you know, cut any stray strands that you have. I'm gonna try this one without a waist elastic. That's so stretchy, I think it might be okay. That skirt's done. This skirt is pretty much done too. You know why? Because the bottom is already hemmed. So I don't really have to do anything except the top. You just roll it inside of itself, fold it under, make a line where you're gonna stop sewing, start sewing here all the way around, and then stop, leaving a space for the elastic to go in. Okay, now watch closely. See, we went all the way around. We started here, we went all the way around. Now we're at the end, and I'm gonna sew up and stop, leaving a space so that we can push the elastic in. Right about there. Sew that together. Ta-da!
So that's about it for this episode. Thank you for watching. If you made it through the whole video, an extra thanks to you. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from the art club. And you know what? I sincerely hope that this was understandable, because if you can sew things, then it makes your life so much more versatile when it comes to fashion. You can buy something and alter it and make it fit you just right. And I've done this for years, and it's so worth it to take the time to learn. So please go back through this video and try again until you can do it, because it's so worth it. Anyway, see you next time.